the ability of neighborhood associations to better serve their immediate communities.
Starting.
Thank you. Neighborhood associations are the backbone of our community. We've often talked about downtown being the heart of our city. Neighborhood associations, neighborhoods are the backbone of our city. I use them not only individually, and there are over 200 of them in our community. I try to use them as much as I can on an individual basis, but I also use our area partnerships, of which these associations belong to. There are 4 partnerships. I meet with them every month. We have a core association of neighborhoods, those primarily interested in East Central and Southeast Central areas of our city. There's about a dozen of those associations that I meet with on a regular basis. We talk about specific problems of East Central and Southeast Central. I also meet regularly with our neighborhood liaison officers. They inform me what's going on as far as our COPS program. And finally, I meet monthly with our favorite faith-based associations, our faith-based churches, groups. I have a United Pastors group that I meet with. I'm very blessed with the fact that 9, 10, 12 of them meet with me every month. And we talk about social problems in our community and other things that perhaps the city administration can help them address. So it's very important that we involve associations in a number of different ways to make sure that the backbone of our community is strong. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I think the neighborhood liaison program can be continued, but they need to be more accessible to you. And like I said before, we could use different avenues for people to come in. And I want to have a more open door policy when I'm working with people, and I believe that you need to be in touch with all generations, all walks of life. And sometimes we get lost in doing that. The higher up we go. So working closer with council to really listen to what people's needs are, and always being aware. You know, my current job, I always shop my competition because I want to know what they're doing right, and I want to know what they're doing wrong. And I think as mayor, you also need to make sure that you're out, not visiting and flagging, but you're out. I'm not saying the way you are, sir. But you need to be out and talk with people, all walks of life, and make sure that the city has exactly what it needs. And I don't know if when I get out of town and I see some things, you need to watch for things that other people are doing. And like I said before, if they're doing it right, great, that works. But I grew up in Toledo and I saw Portside as a kid go up millions of dollars in tax dollars, and it sits there. It's had 4 occupants, and I believe it's empty. So, you know, we keep hearing a lot about riverfront development, and I don't know if any of you have been in Toledo, but the river is about 4 times the width of ours. So I think talking about riverfront development right now is a little premature, especially since there's a lot of people who are unemployed, and as mayor, being connected, we ought to realize that that would be one thing that you would see working with the neighborhood associations, because a lot of people attend the meetings because they don't have a job.
Time, thank you.
Thank you. The question was about protecting neighborhood associations and enabling them to better serve the communities. And for me, I think that really needs to happen with our neighborhoods. And again, I'll go back to the Home Key administration. When we started the community-oriented government program, that's when we broke this community into quadrants: northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. And we started bringing together groups of neighborhoods to talk about what was going on. And it was a back and forth from the city to the neighborhoods, from the neighborhood leaders to the city. But what's happened through the years, as we've cut the staffing for the program and as things have evolved, it's now just kind of a one-way conversation. I go to these meetings every month, and I sit and I talk to neighborhood leaders about what's important to them. And the fact of the matter is that that is where the core of the community is. That is our strongest asset, is the strength of our neighborhoods. And if we're not listening to them, we're not making the changes we need to as a community. I want to start a two-way conversation. I want it back and forth. I want the neighborhood leaders to have ownership of what's happening in the city. That's why I talk about things like a people's audit, involving the citizens in the work of the city. City government exists to serve you. I believe that with all my soul, and that's how we'll get to again when I'm leading. I'll also tell you that I'm going to re-implement the seated program when we have the money to do it. I don't know if you noticed, but about 3 years ago, the city council members stopped getting a chunk of the seated dollars to spend in the neighborhoods. It used to be that each of our district city council members had $250,000 a year to spend in neighborhoods, on street repairs, on sidewalk repairs, on alleys, on street lights.
30 seconds.
That's governing at its best. We need to get back to that. You know why we're not doing it now? Because last year we spent $12 of the $13 million in seeded funds on debt service. That's why we've got to cut down the debt so we can spend the money in the neighborhoods where it belongs.